Hi there, I'm Angela Fair. I'm a watercolor artist and I live in Northern British Columbia, Canada. I'm excited to share a few things that I've learned about teaching online with you today. And it's just something I've wanted to do ever since I started feeling like my online classes were really successful. You want to be able to share that with others. As artists, we know we're in a difficult business, and because it's such a difficult business, we want to help each other, and it's very easy to feel like we should be competitive about what we're doing, but that's not true at all. There's room for every artist, and even though I feel a little nervous about sharing with you some of the great things I've learned about teaching online, I'm excited to think that they can benefit you, and hopefully you can understand my explanation and learn something from my journey. I've been teaching in watercolor or painting in watercolor for 20 years and teaching watercolor for about 12 of those years. But up until about 2 years ago, it was only teaching locally. So I would have 2 classes a year, generally with local students, maybe 6 to 10 people in a class. And while that's fun and it's helpful, and it did help keep me in art supplies, it was just a very small portion of my art income. And so I guess, it's difficult to be an artist in a rural area. You have a limited number of places you can exhibit in, and you can't, and again, a limited number of students who are interested in taking your classes. So a few years ago, I started recording video tutorials, just very short little videos, usually of my kind of light bulb moments where I'd have an insight into a new way to paint something or a better way to use color or something like that. And so I would put that on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. I'm just going to pull that up here on the screen so you can take a look. And my YouTube channel, I thought, was really a surprise to me that it became that it became such a big deal, because I started getting responses to my videos, and they weren't all rude. I know YouTube is known for having just crazy commenters, and things can get a little hairy, but and so it's a good place to develop a thick skin. But there were also a way higher percentage of people who watched my videos were benefiting from the watercolor instruction I was able to share. And so over the last couple of years, I monetized my channel. First of all, I started running ad revenue. And I think the first month I ran ad revenue, I made about $7. But within, I think it was 3 or 4 months, I was making about $100 a month in ad revenue from my YouTube videos. So I was seeing that, as I posted new videos, the viewership was going up. The more viewers I had, the more YouTube promoted my videos, and the more people that saw my videos, the higher my ad revenue became. And so since over the last year, I've had a pretty consistent amount of viewers to my YouTube videos. And I could probably pull up, I'm not going to worry about that. Anyhow, it's been a nice little chunk of cash, not enormous, but a few $100s a month that help me, again, pay for paint and paper. So YouTube alone has been very beneficial to me. And it's amazing how many artists I'll meet, maybe on a Facebook arts group, or even just locally or in the community, who recognize me from YouTube, who have watched my tutorial videos. And teaching on YouTube was really beneficial for me, because early on, my video quality was terrible. My picture angle was terrible. Sound quality, kids were making noise in the background. I mean, I just scratched out time to record videos whenever I could, using what I could. And so YouTube, the nice thing about that is you're not tied to perfection, because again, these are free tutorials. People don't expect them to be flawless. And it's a really good place to learn. If you are wanting to start teaching online, I really recommend you start with the YouTube channel. That way you'll really get to see what people are looking for, what they respond to in your videos, and it starts to build a customer base for you for when you go into teaching online down the road. So it's kind of a small part of a larger game plan. And it was because of YouTube that I started thinking about teaching online. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'm not sure what to do when you're recording live and people are phoning you. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe we can edit that out later. Okay, so we're going to move on. Like I said, as soon as I started making money on my YouTube channel, I think we get greedy. We see that there's an income stream there, and maybe greedy is not the right word, but you see that there's an income source and you think, how can I build on this? How can I make this work better? And because YouTube, you can't control it. You know, your videos might do great sometime, but maybe somebody else is going to come along that's going to, you know, have better videos, or maybe just YouTube's going to change their algorithms, and so your viewership will go down. You know, they're mostly in control of that. So I started thinking about, you know, what if I could, you know, sell courses? And I knew there were people doing it. There were really big websites. Udemy is one. Craftsy has artists who teach courses on there. And, you know, so there are lots of places out there that do sell online courses. And so I got hooked up with one of those, and I did a little bit of research, just School of Google, and so I found one that seemed like they were quite willing to work with me, and so that's, you know, that was what I needed early on, and I think they would take 30% of revenue at the time. It was Skillshare.com was what I used early on, and they were really good at first, but they kind of they do all the marketing for you, and there's different course platforms. So they were the type of course platform that does your marketing for you. You are associated with their site. You don't have your own site. You're just one of their stable of teachers. And so that was that was the first course that I did, was through Skillshare. And that worked quite well for the first, for that course. It was, again, I had a bunch of students sign up. I was getting feedback on, you know, how to set up a course. They did give me guidance too as to how to build my very first course, what kind of structure they were looking for, what kind of price point they thought I could sell it at. And then they provided the students. They already had an established base of an audience, and so and they do kind of cater or gear towards some of the artsy crowd. So it was a good place to start. But unfortunately, I signed up with them right around the time where they changed their model, their structure, and so they started looking for a slightly different format. They were getting teachers to apply rather than being so open in welcoming new teachers in. And so when I was ready to record a second course, they weren't really ready for me, and it got difficult to get that second course launched with them. And so I started looking around again, and it was right around this time that somebody told me about Fedora. The website is usefedora.com, and I'm just going to bring up my site again. And this is my very own online school. Let's see here, right. Oh, I got to go to the main page here. It's learn.angelafair.com. And the thing that I noticed about Fedora right away was I read their terms. I wondered, you know, are they going to own the course content? This is something that's very important. If you're teaching online, you need to know, do you own the course content, or does it belong to the school that you sign up with? And Fedora's terms of use were very short. It was like one paragraph, and it basically said, you own the content. You know, you basically have the agreement to, you know, not put anything on that doesn't belong to you, copyright issues and so forth. But they said, you own the content, and you can promote it however you want. You can market it however you want. Build your course as big as you want, sell it for as much money as you want, do whatever you want. We're just going to provide the structure, the body for your course to sit in. And that was what I wanted. That was what I needed. So they serve as my course host, and then I do pay them a small percentage. I think they have different marketing plans. I think I started at 15% they would take of each enrollment. And what I really liked is that they weren't pushing me to market my course for less than I thought it was worth. And they wanted me to be able to do whatever I wanted. They were a new company. I started with them a year ago in July of 2014. And so I had really good access to the founders of the school. And over the last year, they've grown enormously. They're becoming one of the leaders of online school platforms, I guess. And it's really cool to be a part of that. So, but the scary part for me was when I launched with Fedora was, what do I do with, how do I get students to sign up? Because I wasn't 100% certain I had contacts that I could market to. And I did not want to spend all day advertising my online classes. I did not want to spend a ton of money advertising online classes. So, I was trying to figure out what's the best way to market. I know I have a YouTube audience. I have 24,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So I need to market it to them because I know they're interested in what I have to teach. So maybe they'll be interested in buying a course. And then I had all these students on Skillshare, I think I might have had 1,000 at the time. But with Skillshare, they own the students. You don't have access to your students' email addresses. You don't, and you're not, they discourage you from telling your students to shop somewhere else. And so, it was, how am I going to market to these people who have really enjoyed my Skillshare course, would like to take other courses from me, and yet I can't just freely go and tell them to switch schools. So I got creative there. I found a few ways of promoting to them that wasn't a blatant, student stealing kind of tactic. I wanted to keep a good relationship with Skillshare just in case I did decide I needed them in the future. And I just started with one course, which was which one was it? Anyhow, I believe it was, my color drenched florals and watercolor, which is right here. And so it was just all about painting florals and watercolor, my very first course with Fedora. And I found that I had a really good response. I was getting students to sign up, and it was so exciting to realize that I could do this. I could own my content. I could be in charge of my own school. And I'm really excited about the future. In January of 2015, I launched my landscape course. And so that was about 6 months after I launched my first course with Fedora. And my landscape course, in the month of January, I made $8,000 from registration for this course. People were excited about a new course. They were racing to sign up. They were excited about what they were learning. I have a ton of testimonials just talking about how they've appreciated what I've had to share as a teacher, and also how I share it, because it's very important to me to encourage my students to see that my students love painting enough not to quit, that they don't get discouraged or feel like learning how to paint is a lot of work. So it's just been exciting to see the growth. I'm working on a couple new courses now, and I'm always trying to think about marketing, because I as much as I have this base of students who will buy everything I sell, every time I launch a new course, I will get a ton of new students, or a ton of signups from my existing students, but I want to keep bringing in new students. And so I've been working to be creative with how I market my course. I am always looking for new students in my older courses. Each of the courses that I've sold to date, it's been important to me to make sure they are self-paced. So, you can sign up and take the course anytime. It's not one of those things where you have to show up at a certain time to take the class. It's not live. I've pre-recorded everything. So my work is basically done. Once I've recorded the course and launched it, it's just a matter of checking my email, responding to questions, and then checking into the student gallery once a week or so to comment and critique any work that's been posted. So those aren't difficult things to do. I like being able to be approachable and being able to manage the school myself. If people are having a problem signing in, I get the email before tech support does, And so, you know, that can be a bit of a nuisance because I'm often dealing with a lot of people who aren't very tech savvy. And so, you know, I forgot my password, or I'm having trouble logging in, or why won't the video load? But at the same time, I really like being able to be on top of any problems, to see what questions are coming up repeatedly, so that I can help and guide these students. I'm having, you know, I like having that control, and maybe that's part of being an artist, is having that micromanagement, do it yourself kind of attitude. But it's been really good for me, and it's been good for my students too, and that's important. So again, marketing, how do I find students? First of all, I have an email list, and now that I have my own school, any student who signs up, and even if they don't purchase a course, if they sign in, I have their email address, and so they get regular emails just reminding them what I'm doing, what's new, offering a promotion if I have one going on, a discount on a course. They usually get first notice of a new course and a discount code for a new course, recognizing that my existing students are appreciated. So I do offer discounts to people who have bought courses from me in the past, and so that's very important, is marketing to the people who already care about what you do. To try to bring my YouTube students in, I'll post maybe a YouTube video with just a portion of a tutorial, and then say the rest of that tutorial is located here in this course or in this free course, because I actually have a free online course as part of my Use Fedora site, my learn.angelafair.com. You can sign up for free to the joy of watercolor. Again, it's just another way of getting student email addresses, being able to promote and market actively to these people. They sign up for free. They get a small amount of free content with some videos that teach them different watercolor techniques. And then I get in exchange their email address that helps me to market to them. Another thing I do is, and this has been really popular, is with both my Skillshare students and my angelafair.com students, I will do an occasional blog post showcasing student work. So I'll pick maybe 5 paintings from various student works that are posted in the student galleries from both Skillshare and angelafair.com, and then just talk about what I like about those paintings, and how cool it is to see students growing and expanding their skills. And it is. I'm so proud of my students. And then, of course, I'll talk about my courses and give a sign-up link. So these students, if they're from Skillshare, they can see that I have other courses on this other site, and then maybe tell their friends, hey, look, I'm online. I'm on the internet on this famous artist's blog, and they can encourage their friends to sign up as well. So that's worked well for me. I don't pay a lot for advertising. I would much rather try to engage people in some other way. You know, I do promote my art on my Facebook page and my classes, and you know, using these free sources. YouTube is one. Pinterest is another big one. I'll link up on Pinterest a link to a blog post talking about my courses and showing some paintings from my course, or paintings inspired by the techniques in my course. You know, these are all ways of people going, wow, I see something that I really like. I want to know more about it. So I don't think you should have to pay for that. You know, a text ad on Google isn't going to have the same visual impact as, you know, an image on Pinterest maybe, and a little tagline about, oh, this painting was inspired by this online class. So, you know, and I know there's a ton of other sites and locations. I've been getting into Instagram a little bit. Somebody else was talking about Reddit, and I haven't even, you know, touched the surface there. But if you're active on a social media site, that's a really good place to start marketing. If you're teaching online or whatever, and you want to do it in a smart way. Don't just say, oh, buy my course. I really think it's important to just talk about, what engages you, what interests you, what excites you, and connect that to what you're doing. And that's really my approach. Is I want to say, this is what excites me about painting in watercolor. Wouldn't you want to feel that way too? And why not try my course and understand, my thinking, my philosophy behind painting, and see the way that creativity, when you're really creative, how it just makes your life so much richer. And it really does. And I love being able to share that. In a way, my teaching online has felt like a ministry, a way of encouraging people, building them up, getting them excited about something. Sometimes I'll have people who have been bereaved or are retired and are trying to connect with the part of themselves that they turned off for a long time. And it's really cool to be able to do that and to help others that way. And teaching online has been really good for my reputation. Like I said, I'm getting recognized by people online, which I never noticed before. I'm also, what was the other thing I wanted to tell you about? I love getting emails from people just talking about how they saw my art and it made them so excited about painting or about the beauty of the world. And we are surrounded by beautiful things, and sometimes the world can feel really dark. And I think when we focus on the dark, everything feels dark. So let's choose to see beauty everywhere. And that's, another important thing to me about watercolor and about teaching. Also, teaching online has helped me to be a better painter. When you are verbalizing your process, it helps you think about it and analyze it in a way that maybe you hadn't before. And so that helps you be more, more focused and more deliberate about what you're doing. I still couldn't find the word, but, it helps you to be more intentional about how you paint when you verbalize what you do and why you do it. And so I've been able to teach about color theory, about value, watercolor techniques of all kinds, and why and when to use them. And it's really cool to see how that's helped me be more intentional in my own painting. So those are all reasons I think are great for teaching online. I'd love to hear your questions and let me know what I forgot to share. I'd like to, let me just see here. Is there a way I can share some links? One would think. Screen share, chat. I thought it was here, showcase. Yes, no, maybe. Add an item from a website. Well, I can maybe use that. My own website is learn.angelafair.com. Let's see. Yeah, so there's my okay. So that is my link to my online classes. The site I recommend is usefedora.com to sign up with. I'm not making any money by encouraging you to sign up with them, but I really do encourage you to do that. They are very helpful, very easy to set up a course with them. They have some webinars that you can use to learn how to set up a course. I can share a link to that in the comments. And there's even an article about me and how I had such a great January launching a brand new course and making $8,000. And even when I'm not actively promoting my courses at this point, I'm still making about $2,000 a month, which is not chicken feed. It's a great part-time income if you're a stay-at-home mom like me who wants to make an art career. It's a really good way of helping. It makes me feel excited about the future. And to see my business grow is it's the most energizing thing if you're wanting to pursue painting. A lot of artists sound pretty cynical about the business of being a successful artist, and I don't think it has to be that way. Let's be creative and find ways to get our art out there, to share what we know. People love artists. They're jealous of me when I tell them what I do for a living. And There's a reason for that. So, you know, if as much as, you know, they may think we're not making any money, they still envy us for what we do. And that's pretty awesome. Let's share that and get it out there. So I think that's all I have for you right now. Hopefully this was helpful to you, and I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback.